Okay, so it's time for this week's episode of 2 Minute Tuesday. And this week we're going to be taking a look at reservation deposits. Now, long gone are the days when a handshake would be enough to secure the purchase of a property. Nowadays, it's all contracts and reservation deposits. So this week we're having a look at the reservation deposit, why we have it, how much it is, and what's done with the deposit. So welcome to this week's episode. It's number 198 of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hondon Valley Homes. Okay, so I've broken the reason that we have a reservation deposit down into several different reasons. So the first one I've got is it's to protect the buyer from the vendor. So let me try and explain this. So if you've seen a property, €300,000, you've agreed the sale of the property, you've had your lawyer write a contract, it's been agreed by everybody, you've paid a €5,000 deposit. If the vendor turned around and said, do you know what, we've had a better offer, and we're going to sell to that second offer because we're going to make more money. Because you've got a contract and a deposit paid, there are consequences. So if your vendor wanted to cancel your contract, they would not only have to give you back the €5,000 deposit that they've paid you, but they would also have to pay back a penalty equal to the deposit. So they would give you back the original 5,000 and they would have to pay a penalty of 5,000. So this helps prevent things like gazumping, where they would accept a better offer. It also stops a potential vendor from turning around and saying, I've decided I don't want to sell the property anymore, and so I'm going to cancel the contract, because the consequences are exactly the same. They have to obviously give you back the €5,000 that they've received from you, and they also have to pay back the penalty, which is equal to what they've received. So in this case, €5,000. So it solidifies their resolve in order to sell the property to you. The other side of this is that obviously you're making sure that the vendor is serious. It also secures the fact that the buyer is serious. So if you've jumped on a plane, you've flown over here to Spain, you've gone around looking at different properties, you've found a property that you like enough to decide that you want it as your home, you've made an offer, the offer has been accepted. If you were to jump on an aeroplane after that, you've really made no commitment to it. So by signing a reservation contract and paying a deposit, it means that you are showing that you are a serious buyer. As I said, many years ago, people would have done it with a handshake. Nowadays, the sums of money are too big, and when you make an offer to buy the property, you will have your lawyer and the vendor's lawyer contact with each other, and they will agree a reservation contract, agree the deposit, and the terms and conditions of the sale. So it also shows your seriousness as a vendor in purchasing the property. The third thing I've got is what it also does is it allows the property to be taken off the market so that the lawyers can check all of the paperwork. So nobody wants to take the property off the market unless they're sure that the buyer is serious. However, you don't want to buy a property until you know that the property is legal. So the way of doing this is by paying a deposit along with the contract to show that you are serious in doing that. Where to sort of give the buyer some protection is that when you pay the deposit, you will normally pay this deposit to your lawyer. So rather than paying it to the agent or paying it to the vendor or to the vendor's lawyer, you pay the money to your lawyer. Your lawyer will hold on to the money. They will say to the vendor's lawyer, hey, listen, I've got all this money here. I know you want it. Prove to me that the property is legal, and then we'll give it to you. And so it buys some time for you as the buyer, and it buys some time for the vendor in order for all the paperwork to be checked so that everybody is happy. And then the final one I've got, I don't like using the term time waster, but if somebody has gone to the trouble of jumping on an aeroplane, flying to a foreign country, driving around looking at lots of properties, making an offer to purchase a property, having contracts paid, they're not a time waster. But what it does stop is people making offers on multiple properties, which sometimes some people will do. And so if a client says to me they want to make an offer on a property, one of the first things that I do is I clarify with the clients whether they are showing an interest in purchasing. Would you be interested in selling the house to me if I was to propose the following price and an offer? Or I want to buy this house and this is my offer to purchase. So what the deposit does is it shows your intent as a buyer. So we've talked about this €5,000 deposit. What actually happens to the deposit? So when you pay the deposit, you don't pay it to me as the agent, you don't give it to the vendor, you don't even give it to the vendor's lawyer, you send it to your lawyer. When the contract is written with all the terms and conditions on it, then you pay the deposit to your lawyer. Your lawyer will then turn around to the vendor's lawyer and say, hey, listen, I've got all this money here from my client and they desperately want to give it you to buy this property. But first, show me that the property is legal, all the paperwork is correct, everything's in order, and then I'll give you this lovely €5,000. And that's basically how it works. If you give the money to your lawyer, they will only pass it across to the vendor's side once they are satisfied that the property is legal and available for you to buy without infraction. So the money will go into your lawyer's client account and only be transferred over when your lawyer is happy for the sale to go ahead. And so that's it, really. That's why we have reservation deposits. A long time ago, as I said, a handshake would be enough, but obviously not nowadays. And so if you are in the market for purchasing a property in Spain, please remember that in order to back up your offer to purchase the property, there will, of course, be a contract and there will be a reservation deposit required. And the consequences of those will be explained to you by your lawyer during the consultation with the lawyer. They will explain everything. But at least by watching this video, you're aware that it exists and that it's an expectation of the buyer in order to show their intent to purchase the property. So there we go. That's this week's episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. My details are on the screen at the moment, so if you do have any questions, queries, want any more information, then please feel free to let me know. And that's it for this week's episode. So we'll look forward to seeing you for the next one in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, adios, and we'll see you soon. Adios.